6:30.
One of our shared national treasures, actress and comedian Lucille Ball, died today. And one of the nation's most divisive issues, abortion, again a subject of intense arguments today inside and outside the U.S. Supreme Court. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. Justices of the U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments today for and against rolling back the landmark 1973 abortion ruling, a ruling affirming individual women's constitutional right to choose to have an abortion. Full coverage on that in a moment. First, about the death of one of the inventors of television comedy, Lucille Ball. Before there was a global village, before the medium was the message, there was Lucy. Week after week, from the 1950s to the reruns, still running worldwide in the 1980s. Lucille Ball died today at 77, a little over a week after heart surgery. Correspondent Jerry Bowen reports on the outpouring of respect and love for an actress who made a nation laugh out loud in the living room.
Yes, she did. She died this morning.
The news from the hospital was a real shock. Lucille Ball, recovering so well from emergency open-heart surgery just 8 days ago, died suddenly early today. Even hospital officials were stunned.
She was even beginning to walk a little bit. Her spirits were good. Everyone felt very optimistic. There was no reason to suspect that anything was about to occur.
Coming down here on the left-hand side, this is Lucille Ball's house right here. Just passed away this morning.
Her family went into seclusion. Friends and flowers began arriving at her Beverly Hills home, and tributes flowed from Hollywood royalty and loyal fans alike to the queen of comedy.
She was a friend. We loved her dearly, and she's truly going to be missed.
What she did for television is what Chaplin did for silent movies.
She inspired women comics. You'd have to be inspired to watch her work and realize that it's possible for a woman to get laughs.
So no matter how many tears we cry today, the laughs outnumber them. I love Lucy.
Speaking for everybody in the world that grew up with her like I did, we'll all love her and miss her.
It was big news from Tokyo to Melbourne, where Lucy stars in reruns.
The queen of comedy, Lucille Ball, died very suddenly.
Sad news from Hollywood Boulevard to the Beverly Hills beauty parlor.
Probably the greatest comedian that ever lived, you know.
Lucy's last public appearance was at the Academy Awards, the night the stars shine, and she did.
But I've got the most gorgeous girl right by my side, Lucille Ball, right there.
It's like the passing of an era, you know. It's like Gleason is gone and now Lucy.
But what can you do? The guy knocks on your door and gives you back your pictures, you gotta leave. But there's one thing that's nice. Lucy is gone, but she'll always be with us. I love Lucy. Everybody loves Lucy.
Everybody. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Hollywood.
More now about tonight's other top story. The Supreme Court hearing arguments in an abortion case that has raised the hopes of some and the dread of others, and sparked renewed demonstrations by both sides today. The possibility that the U.S. Supreme Court may roll back the 16-year-old law of the land about women's rights on abortion. CBS News law correspondent Rita Braver has our report.
Keep it safe! Keep it legal! Keep it safe!
Outside the Supreme Court, the lines were clearly drawn.
Not the church, not the state. Women must decide our fate.
What do you think abortion is? It's terrorism in the womb.
Inside, the debate was equally intense. At issue, a petition by the state of Missouri, joined by the Bush administration, to overturn the landmark Roe v. Wade decision, which gives women a virtually unfettered right to legal abortion in the early stages of pregnancy. The court was being asked to uphold a state law that places new limits on when and where women may obtain abortions and declares that life begins at conception. Former Solicitor General Charles Freed, arguing for the Bush administration, got right down to it. Today, the United States asks this court to reconsider and overrule its decision in Roe v. Wade. Justice O'Connor asked, "Do you say there is no fundamental right to decide whether to have a child or not?" Freed replied, "I would hesitate to formulate the right in such abstract terms." He explained, "We are not asking the court to unravel the fabric of privacy rights. Rather, we are asking the court to pull this one thread. Frank Sussman, attorney for the pro-choice side, responded, "It has always been my personal experience that when I pull a thread, my sleeve falls off. There is no stopping." Justice Scalia pointed out that there's no firm agreement on whether a fetus is a human life. He asked whether there must be a fundamental right on the part of the woman to destroy this thing that we don't know what it is, or rather, that it's a matter you vote upon. Sussman answered, "When you have an issue that is so emotional and so personal and so intimate, it must be left as a fundamental right to the individual to make that choice." But those who framed and support the Missouri law insist that Roe v. Wade wrongfully takes away the state's rights to protect the unborn.
Now you have a situation where the Supreme Court says, no, you can't look at that child. You can't recognize that it's even the basic simple fact that it's alive and human you can't look at. You can only look at the mother.
But the clinic that challenged the Missouri law says that women like Barbara could be forced to return to back alley abortions or bear unwanted children.
You know, I would hate to bring a child into where I ain't got a place to live right now.
Women have always had abortions. Women always will have abortion. The question will be, will they be safe? Will they be legal? Will they be accessible? And will they be affordable?
Both sides are very much aware that of the majority on Roe v. Wade, only Justices Brennan, Marshall, and Blackmun remain. Justice John Paul Stevens is expected to vote with them. Justices Rehnquist and White originally opposed Roe v. Wade. Of the three Reagan appointees, Justices Scalia and Kennedy are expected to side with them. O'Connor could be the swing vote. But for now, most experts are predicting that the court will neither uphold nor overturn Roe v. Wade, but instead will modify it in some way, giving the states more leeway to regulate some aspects of abortion, Dan.
Thank you, Rita. And still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, David Browning on the life and times of Lucille Ball, who for 38 years was, for all of us, our Lucy.
Color Tile introduces Color Carpet, the incredible new place where you can get over 1,000 beautifully rich carpet colors. Choose your shade now and get fantastic introductory savings on all Stainmaster carpet only from DuPont, starting as low as $8.99. Plus, buy one room of Color Carpet and get 25% off anything else at Color Tile. Shop now for the color carpet you want in just the color you've dreamed of. New Color Carpet, only at Color Tile.
Let me show you a Puerto Rico most people never see. I know a tiny village where the songs of my ancestors fill the air. I know a country inn where the morning coffee is yesterday's harvest. I know special horses that learn their steps from the conquistadors. I know places no one knows.
What's the best kind of fruit? The kind that's fresh, moist, and plump. That's why Sunsweet are my favorite kind of pitted prunes. Moist, plump, and fresh. Sunsweet, because the best prunes are fresh prunes.
When your coffee's smooth and easy, like Sunday morning, and it tastes your way, it's necessarily Nescafe.
Great coffee blends to taste your way. That's necessarily Nescafe.
A high-publicity California reunion today between President George Bush and former President Ronald Reagan, their first since Mr. Bush took office. White House correspondent Wyatt Andrews reports on their public side-by-side smiling, even as Mr. Bush appears to be trying to distance himself from some key Reagan policies, and amid some bad-mouthing of the Reagan presidency by some now working for George Bush.
I have a lot more to learn from President Reagan.
George Bush made his political career at the right hand of Ronald Reagan, and he was back there again today, paying a courtesy call on Mr. Reagan in Los Angeles and winning yet another political attaboy from the Gippers.
I think he's doing just fine, and he was a major part of everything that we did for the preceding 8 years, and I'm very pleased to have him here.
President Bush likes to describe his assumption of power from Ronald Reagan as a friendly takeover. And yet, in just 3 months in office, Mr. Bush has moved to roll back much of the Ronald Reagan legacy. Bush has backed away from military support for the Contras. He scaled back the scope of Star Wars and cut deeply into the Reagan defense budget. Mr. Bush is reconsidering his once rigid rejection of gun control and is actively pursuing causes such as a clean air bill and a hike in the minimum wage that Ronald Reagan consistently rejected.
George Bush ran for president as the son of Ronald Reagan. He's governing as the son of Jerry Ford. He's moved more toward the center on his policies.
But if Ronald Reagan is displeased with anything about George Bush, he's keeping it to himself. Not even the defense budget cuts could stand in the way of today's love fest.
I think that I could rest assured that he means to maintain our national security.
Ronald Reagan has done a great favor to George Bush in permitting him, without sniping at him, to depart from a number of major Reagan initiatives.
It's been the Bush White House staff that has most often done the sniping, painting Mr. Reagan as lazy in an effort to make Mr. Bush look good. Today's meeting came in part to make amends. Despite all of his efforts to set new policies and mold his own style, George Bush still craves the blessing of Ronald Reagan. You missed the White House? Come on, guys.
No, it's in good hands.
Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Battle lines drawn again today in Beijing. Chinese student leaders said they will go ahead with a mass march to the central square to press their campaign for more political freedom. Communist authorities warned the march is illegal and police will stop it with force. Last week, Chinese police battled with rioters in the central city of Xi'an. Reliable sources have now told CBS News that as many as 30 people were killed in those clashes.
Along with the fiber, are you getting something extra in your high-fiber cereal? All of these cereals contain sodium and added sugar. Fiber One, however, is low in sodium and has absolutely no added sugar. And you get more fiber in Fiber One. So get more of the fiber your body needs and less of the stuff it doesn't. Get Fiber One.
Subaru would like to apologize to the residents of Casa Grande, Arizona, where we drove the all-new Subaru Legacy at speeds averaging 138 miles per hour, 24 hours a day, for over 60,000 miles. That's about 2.5 times around the world. Until we set a new world speed endurance record. If you're listening, Casa Grande, thank you.
Where's the burning feeling?
Here.
For that heartburn, your medical answer is Extra Strength Malox Plus. Where are the gas pains?
Here.
For that gas and indigestion, your medical answer is Extra Strength Malox Plus. Its doctor-recommended formula neutralizes more than any leading antacid. Where does it hurt?
It doesn't, thanks to Malox Plus.
Ask your doctor about Extra Strength Malox Plus.
Third anniversary of the world's worst nuclear reactor blowout at Chernobyl in the Soviet Ukraine. Soviet television today talked up the idea of establishing a research center there. Chernobyl killed at least 31 people, spewed a cloud of fallout and fear all across Europe. And questions persist even now about long-term health effects. Our Moscow correspondent Barry Peterson reports on the legacy of Chernobyl.
They gathered at a small cemetery outside Moscow today, the friends and relatives of Chernobyl's dead. Sadness amid fresh complaints over the lack of information within the Soviet Union about the accident and its after effects. Regarding Chernobyl, said an unusually harsh editorial in Izvestia tonight, it is too early to speak of full glassnosed. Indeed, the best sources have been unofficial. These home movies taken in a nearby village the day of the accident recently surfaced. A calm life with the plant still undamaged in the background. Then, signs of trouble, tanks moving in, men in protective gear, buses brought in to evacuate residents. Today, those villages remain vacant. But 25 miles away, some people have dared to move back. This man was stopped. The level of radiation of the boxes checked and found to be extremely high. That child should not be here, he was told. The man became angry, not about the radiation, but at the soldier. We're told we can live here, he says. It can't be true. The story of Chernobyl is told in a haunting new film about the accident, but it is seen only at small private gatherings. It shows deformities some claim are due to increased radiation levels. Said one woman, the doctors say we should not give birth, that we should have abortions. There must be radiation here, but they don't tell us that. The criticism is growing from those who increasingly fear the radiation and fear they may be paying the unknown price for that day 3 years ago when technology went bad. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Moscow.
Another Exxon Corporation tanker mishap today with the Valdez connection. The fully loaded Exxon Philadelphia is adrift off the coast of Washington State after engine failure. Rescue vessels trying to tow the tanker to port, and the Coast Guard claims everything is under control. The tanker is carrying 21 million gallons of crude from Valdez to a Washington State refinery. A victory today for environmentalists and a setback for the logging industry of the Pacific Northwest. After a court-ordered reevaluation, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service recommended the tiny spotted owl be listed as a threatened species. If it becomes final, this recommendation would prevent logging on all lands where the owls might be harmed. An estimated 1,500 pairs of American spotted owls remain.
Getting out and enjoying yourself, that's what life is all about. And it's easy when you have the best bladder control protection. Depend Undergarments has special layers of absorbency that won't bunch or sag, and elastic legs for a better fit. They're the best protection and the best way for you to get back into life. Hey!
Get back into life with Depend.
You've got to be kidding. I mean, a cereal today is supposed to be fun, wild shapes, jelly beans. You got anything like that? These are just flakes. I like this. That's funny, huh? Unless you're going for a retro thing, right? Bringing back all the good stuff. Yeah, it's simple, basic. I like that.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Get it out of here. Cornflakes?
Taste them again for the first time.
With arthritis, there's pain. And then there's pain. For relief, there's aspirin. And then there's Anacin. The Anacin aspirin formula has more medicine than regular aspirin.
That's not relief. That's relief.
Anacin.
When I need a laxative, I use Docalax.
Doris Jones talks about Docalax.
I like Docalax because it's very mild and gentle and dependable.
Docalax, tablets and suppositories.
Docalax works every single time.
They are drawing in the Pennsylvania lottery tonight. Biggest jackpot in North American history, more than $100 million. The odds against any ticket are 10 million to 1 against. But the fever is everywhere in Pennsylvania and in surrounding states. The question in some places is, are these things really a good idea? Richard Schlesinger reports on the now legal numbers racket some states are running.
At the Pennsylvania-Ohio border, they are turning would-be millionaires away. Too many people want lottery tickets.
We got about at least a 6-hour wait, maybe more here.
In Pennsylvania, lottery tickets are selling at a rate of 500 per second. The fever is spreading like the plague, and in some places it is about as welcome.
The lottery's too big. There's too much greed into it now.
But to the people in line, there's no such thing as too big. Even though the odds are about 10 million to 1 against winning, people in Pennsylvania were willing to spend hours waiting to take a gamble.
Well, my wife doesn't even know I'm here. She thinks I'm getting parts for my bulldozer.
Lotteries have earned billions of dollars for the 29 states that run them, but now some experts are starting to question the ethical cost of those profits.
When you play Jackpot, the instant game from the Florida Lottery, it'll make you want to.
$140 million of state money is spent to sell an almost impossible dream.
We have to be concerned about whether the public interest is served by educating the public to believe that gambling is a good thing.
Hey, you take a shot. So I'm not a gambler.
But studies show between 2 and 5% of lottery players are compulsive gamblers.
They're winding up with anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 in debt, and it's the state that's advertised for it.
We want them to come to us for some fun, some dreams, some entertainment.
Illinois is filming its new lottery commercials now, and despite the objections, across the country, millions of lottery players continue to drive up the stakes. Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, Albion, Pennsylvania.
National lottery fever will be the subject tomorrow night of the CBS News broadcast 48 Hours. That's tomorrow night at 8/7 Central Time. The government said today that the economy's gross national product had a strong 5.5% growth rate during the first quarter. Excluding agriculture, the GNP growth rate was 3%, higher than expected and possible evidence that inflation is still a concern. United Airlines today gave Boeing the largest order of new airliners from one company in aviation history. To replace its aging fleet, United ordered up to 370 Boeing 737s and 757s. It'll pay nearly $16 billion.
Lots of long hours and hard days wrapped up in this one. The Pontiac Transport SE took it all the way from the design studio to reality. You factor it all in: safety, comfort, performance, then make sure it ends up beautiful. You know, I think we did it.
GM has been recognized for design excellence by the Industrial Designer Society of America more than any other U.S. company.
Honey, great news. I don't need surgery for my hemorrhoids. The doctor said they're not that serious.
Well, what did he say?
He told me to eat right, get some exercise, and when they act up, use Preparation H.
Thousands of doctors distribute this hemorrhoidal care guide. It advises a fiber-rich diet, exercise, and for flare-ups, try Preparation H for effective therapy against hemorrhoidal symptoms.
Aren't you glad you didn't need surgery?
Preparation H, also a new cream.
Sometimes minor mouth pain can be major trouble. Maximum Strength Anbesol gives maximum strength relief on contact. So before you can say Tchaikovsky, the pain's gone. Maximum Strength Anbesol. It's major relief.
Good friends and good food, but my stomach aches. My party. And Mylanta 2.
Double strength Mylanta 2 with nearly double the acid neutralizing power of any leading regular strength brand.
Because my life takes Mylanta 2.
When Lucille Ball came to New York to take acting classes as a 15-year-old, the school wrote her parents to advise they were wasting their money. Was anyone ever more wrong about anything, or worse advice given? Correspondent David Browning looks at Lucy's unforgettable career in comedy.
All right, hit the music, Harry.
Thousands of happy, peppy people and get a great big bottle of Meter. Here she comes.
Everybody loved Lucy. And it wasn't just the saucer eyes or the laugh that made you laugh, too. No, Lucy's hold on several generations of Americans went way beyond that.
Well, I don't think she ever did anything to hurt anyone. I think she was childlike and bemused and bewitched, bothered, and bewildered.
And Lucy of the pratfalls, Lucy of the sight gags, Lucy of the reruns that go on forever all around the globe. Lucy is so much a part of America's history and its heart, it's hard to remember that even before Lucy, there was Lucille Ball, actress.
Even after you grow old.
There she is on the left, one of the showgirls with Eddie Cantor in the 1933 movie Roman Scandals.
I want to do something with my hands.
She arrived in Hollywood via Broadway and arrived, if the truth be known, as a brunette. The red hair came later, an homage to her favorite movie star.
I loved Clara Bow. Loved her red hair. I think that's why I have red hair. I wasn't born with this, you know.
No?
No.
Oh.
Got the check?
Here it is. Her movie roles in the 30s and 40s ranged from the solid to the purely ornamental, from brunette to blonde to redhead. And it was in the movies that she first met a young Cuban band leader named Desi Arnaz.
Will someone please come? There's a waiter fainted out here.
My gosh!
They married, and while Lucy had her own radio show on CBS, Desi went on the road with his band. And then came television. William Paley, the founder of CBS, remembered how I Love Lucy came to be.
She came to me one day and we were going to transfer her from radio to television and said, I just can't do it. And I said, why not? She said, well, I'm married to Desi Arnaz, and the most important thing in the world to me now is to have a baby. And it's not going to be possible for me to have a baby if Desi is out traveling around the country leading his band 50 weeks a year or something of that kind. I have to be with him, and if I can't have him with me here in Hollywood participating in my show, I'm just going to travel with him. So under duress, I said, well, if it's that important, we'll find a place for him, and we'll put him into your show. And we started doing it that way.
It's me!
And it was a lucky relationship because the show, as you remember, was a very, very successful one, to a very large extent because of Lucille Ball's stubbornness, just in wanting to have a baby.
Ricky, this is it.
This is it!
We didn't know that we'd be on for a year even. We knew nothing about time or reruns or anything. I found a character that I love doing, and I had a chance to do it again and again and again. That's great.
Wait for me!
But life does not always imitate television. Lucy and Desi divorced in 1960 and went their separate ways, but always spoke with respect of the magic that the other brought to television's most famous show.
You know, the one good thing about her, she never mind looking messed up or wet or with mud in her face. I mean, you know, most girls are always worrying about their hair and everything. You know, she never cared. You know, if he was funny and if he was good, fine. You know.
How do you remember Desi?
Fondly, gratefully.
In recent years, Lucille Ball did occasional television roles, serious and comic, and was honored from Hollywood to Washington, and was once asked the epitaph she'd prefer.
I loved doing what I was doing, so I felt very lucky. I'm happy that I brought laughter because I have been shown by many the value of it.
I love Lucy and she loves me. We're as happy as two can be. It's true, I love Lucy. Like you, I love Lucy. Yes, Mom. I love Lucy. Too.
And that's tonight's CBS Evening News. Later this evening, CBS News will present a prime-time one-hour broadcast on the remarkable life of Lucille Ball. That will be at 9 Central Time tonight. Until then, Dan Rather.
Lucille Ball, everybody's favorite redhead. Share the fond memories of her legendary life. Lucy, a CBS News special tonight.
This